it was hard sitting on the bench. I'm not going to lie. There were certainly some hard days, but, you know, I think it taught myself how to be a really good leader and how to be a really good teammate and how to empathize for your teammates in certain situations. You know, when you're in the heat of battle, your emotions are high and, you feel things differently. And I think when you're on the sidelines and you don't have your jersey on, you can observe and really watch people and learn about people.
After months of silence and endless fan speculation, Caitlin Clark finally broke her silence, giving her first interview in 3 months, and what she revealed was both emotional and inspiring. The Indiana Fever star opened up about the painful journey she's been on since suffering one of the toughest setbacks of her young career, from the groin injury that sidelined her to the devastating ankle sprain that crushed her comeback hopes. "It was hard sitting on the bench," Clark admitted. "There were definitely some hard days. But it taught me how to be a better leader and a better teammate."
Caitlin, what's the status of your health right now, and what specifically injury-wise between the ankle and the groin was it that prevented you from coming back this year?
Yeah, honestly, I've been working really hard to get back to full health, and I feel like probably over these last couple of weeks is when I've probably started feeling my best. Obviously, my ankle kind of didn't allow me to really see where my groin was at. It was, I think, my second full court workout back when we were in, I don't even know what month that would have been, but I just went to kind of make a move, and unfortunately my ankle completely rolled all the way forward, and probably one of the worst sprains I've dealt with. I've just tried to stay positive the best I can, and but I honestly feel like I'm in a really good spot, and people don't always realize, people that are kind of in the basketball world, or whether if you're in other sports too, when you're injured, it's honestly more work than when you're playing. So, I've spent so much time here in this building this season just trying to get healthy and trying to kind of just get back to 100%. And honestly, I think that, if I never was, I obviously played that game in Connecticut, and that's where I kind of felt some more pain in my right groin, and then obviously had some tests and other things done, and there was no decision of this is the end of my season. I had full intention of returning, and I think in a way that was probably positive for me, because that's how I approached every single day.
Her words offered rare insight into the emotional side of professional recovery: the long hours, the uncertainty, and the mental toll that comes with being away from the game she loves. Clark revealed that her ankle injury came just as she was pushing through groin pain in practice. One wrong move, and suddenly her season was over. "My ankle rolled all the way forward, probably one of the worst sprains I've ever had," she said. Despite the frustration, Clark never stopped working. She spent countless hours rehabbing, observing her team from the sidelines, and focusing on what she could control: her mindset.
I came in here I was going to play, I was going to get back out on the court, and it probably would have been even more devastating and crushing knowing that I was never going to be able to put my uniform back on for the rest of the season. But, you just approach it every single day you attack and get better, and it'll be the same for me going forward. That work doesn't stop, and, I think I've had really good perspective on it all, and that's probably what I'm most proud of too. I think that's probably where people struggle to understand at times, is there is a huge difference than me standing there and shooting spot shots and running up and down. But in a basketball game, I'm not thinking oh, I'm planting here, oh, I'm cutting, oh, I'm doing this, oh, I'm doing that. You're just doing it. So your muscles need to be able to react and withstand that type of stuff. So that's where the 5-on-5 becomes really critical. And then obviously the contact piece of it too. You don't know where you're going to be taking contact from, but my goal, it was the end of October to kind of be out there and trying to get back to playing 5-on-5. And
she described the rehab process as even more demanding than playing itself, emphasizing that it wasn't just about physical therapy, but about rebuilding confidence and trust in her body. Clark's candidness showed fans the unseen side of recovery, the grind that doesn't make headlines. She talked about the difference between being able to shoot around and being ready for real competition, saying, "In a game, you don't think about how you plant or cut, you just do it. That's what makes 5-on-5 so important for getting back to full speed." Her goal is to return to live play by late October, though she made it clear that healing is as much mental as physical.
I've been grinding as hard as I possibly can, and that's how it's always kind of just been for me. Like, I love the work, I love putting in the work, and that it's been difficult not being able to like see the time you put in, being able to put on your jersey and see it pay off. But I think, like I said, I think it's been a really good opportunity for me to learn a lot about myself and certain lessons that will probably be really important throughout my career as well.
In the huddle and almost take on the role of another set of coaching eyes with this group this season.
I mean, it's not what I envisioned by any means. But, I've talked with a few people about this. I think, when I get a few years down here in my career, like, I think this is a moment in a season I'll look back on and be like, this is why I am who I am today. And that's obviously probably pretty challenging to think in that way right now, but I truly believe that. And, it was hard sitting on the bench, I'm not going to lie.
Through it all, Clark leaned on her teammates, especially Aaliyah Boston, who she described as a constant source of strength and support. AB's been tremendous. She's always there to check in and pick me up, Clark said, adding that the Fever's tight-knit culture and next woman up mentality kept her motivated even when she couldn't suit up. The experience also reshaped her understanding of leadership. Watching from the sidelines allowed her to see the game and her teammates differently.
And, I don't think it was so much for me like the basketball. I mean, like, obviously you learn about basketball. That's always how I've learned. I've been a basketball junkie. Like, you watch games, you watch the NBA, you watch college, you just have basketball on. That's the best way to improve your IQ. But also to learn about people and ask them questions and watch the way they operate. And for myself, getting to do that with my teammates, I think is probably the biggest lesson I learned. And just, how can I show up every single day and pour into them. Going forward down the road, like, if I have a teammate that's injured or hurt or going through a tough moment, like, I know I will always show up for them and be there for them and check in on them, because it is an incredibly isolating thing, and you don't realize that until you go through it. And everybody says it, like, but you don't feel it unless you go through it. So I think all of that is probably what I learned most.
You learn how people operate, how to support them, how to show up for them, Clark explained. If I ever have a teammate go through what I did, I'll know how to be there for them. As she prepares for the off-season, Clark's focus remains clear, getting her body fully healthy and regaining her confidence through real, competitive play. She also mentioned potential USA basketball commitments, calling them a major part of her preparation for next season. The journey hasn't been easy, but Clark sees purpose in the pain.
I mean, I think it's obviously AB's tremendous. Like, we've always had a great relationship, and that's what exactly you need between your post and your point guard. And she's always been somebody that's been there to check in and pick me up. But I think that goes for our entire team, and I think that speaks for our entire season. I don't think it would be, I don't think we would have had the type of success that we had if it wasn't for the friendship or the empathy people showed one another or the next man up mentality. Like, that was shown across the board in our locker room.